Before we start this video, just wanted to let you know that two of the most ambitious videos I've ever done have been posted on my channel as of a couple of days ago. We have all 45 intel locations and all 21 cheats showcased for Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. Those links will be down below in the description and as a pinned comment. Worked really hard on them. Hopefully you guys check them out and enjoy the video. What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered. Yes, a fairly controversial topic over the last couple of days. My good buddy SkyInit actually made a video going over all of the evidence and proof we do have for Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer being remastered. I'll have that video linked down below in the description and as a pinned comment. Definitely show him some love. You would really appreciate it. We'll be touching on a few of the points that he brought up, but we do have some new information that I'm really excited to share, so definitely bear with me. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below because the beer virus has really been affecting the YouTube algorithm lately, so make sure you guys are getting notifications every time I update you on Black Ops 4 Year 2, Call of Duty 2020, and of course, that beautiful Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer, which we know for a fact is actually finished. And the first thing I wanted to bring up was the possibility of seeing Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer remastered in about 27 or so days. So, as you guys may remember, Sony and Activision actually signed a really interesting deal a couple of years ago, and what the deal consists of is remastering the original Modern Warfare games, but giving the PlayStation 4 some type of exclusivity deal to some extent. The game can still be released on other platforms, but PS4 would get some type of exclusive offer. With Modern Warfare 1 Remastered, we saw that you were able to play the Modern Warfare 1 Remastered campaign 30 days early, and after those 30 days, Infinite Warfare then released worldwide, and if you bought the Legacy Edition, you were then given full access to Modern Warfare Remastered, including the multiplayer. So people are speculating that maybe 27 or so days from now, Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered will also be released once other platforms get their hands on the campaign. Could be the same deal as we saw with Modern Warfare 1 Remastered, and I don't think it's necessarily likely, but it definitely is possible for a number of reasons, and it does line up with other information we've heard about Modern Warfare 3 Remastered. Now, I have a separate video coming out at some point, maybe later this week, talking about Modern Warfare 3 Remastered and all the new information we have on that, but for now, we'll just focus on Modern Warfare 2. So, an anonymous person actually reached out to the Gaming Revolution, and I'm sure he'll make a video about this at some point in the next couple days. An anonymous person reached out and doesn't want their identity known, but what this person said essentially is that Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer will be released on its own near the end of the current Modern Warfare's life cycle, but for right now, they are figuring out a way to force those who want it to have to play it through the new Modern Warfare. Yes, so essentially you're forced to buy the new Modern Warfare in order to play Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. So whether that means some type of separate client that you can only access through purchasing the current Modern Warfare, or whether there's like a playlist of classic Modern Warfare 2 maps, whatever that means, you just have to own the current Modern Warfare, and this is to increase the sales of the new Modern Warfare, and it all has to do with investors. They can get Modern Warfare to reach 30 million units sold, like they did in Call of Duty's peak with Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, then they can prove to investors that Call of Duty is back on top. The reason I don't understand this is because Call of Duty is always on top every single year, whether the game is considered a flop, it's still the best-selling game of the year. So I'm not sure why they're still trying to prove themselves to investors. That's a bit of a shame if it's true, right? The person also followed up and said they don't give two shits about splitting up the player base. They are totally cool with doing so if it makes them money, but right now they have a point to prove with Modern Warfare, so that's why we are in this stupid situation. So this lines up really damn well with all the damning evidence we have that Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer is in fact 100% finished. And what's really funny about this is that I was actually having a conversation with the Gaming Revolution a couple days ago, and we talked about how the big reason why they probably don't want to do it is because the current Modern Warfare is really doing well in terms of microtransactions, so they might not want to jeopardize that by splitting up the player base and then releasing Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, which everybody would be playing instead. But what this person's saying is even deeper than that when it comes to the actual units sold of the game. So microtransactions may be doing well in the current Modern Warfare, but it seems like Activision really does want to sell more copies of the game. And how do you do that? Well, you release Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer within the new Modern Warfare to some way, right? To some extent, in some way, shape, or form, similar to how they locked the original Modern Warfare 1 Remastered behind Infinite Warfare's Legacy Edition. So if I really had to guess, I would say at some point in Season 3, they'll be making some type of move to incorporate Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer into the new Modern Warfare, whether it's just bringing those maps back and remaking them with safe spaces, or just bringing the entirety of Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer into the new game somehow, to where it's essentially locked behind a paywall, right? You have to pay for the new Modern Warfare to play the classic Modern Warfare 2. I think that probably makes the most sense, again, taking the same approach as the original Modern Warfare Remastered and trying to boost those sales as much as possible. But how exactly would that resonate with the community, right? Because I think this would have to happen sooner than later. Before the heavy marketing starts for COD 2020, this has to happen. And with the possibility of seeing Modern Warfare 2 Remastered released standalone in its entirety after the current game's life cycle is over, that makes it seem like, you know, maybe COD 2020 could be delayed. Maybe that is a good idea, right? And with COD 2020, as I've said too, it's at that point where we don't want the game to be delayed because we want more Treyarch, we want more of that Black Ops, but it's probably for the best. You gotta delay the game. So what do you fill that gap with? The original Modern Warfare 2, all in its entirety. So it might get to that point where they're like, all right, we're pushing back COD 2020, but here's all of Modern Warfare 2 on its own without the need for the new Modern Warfare game. And then we'll still update Warzone alongside that, but here you go. Maybe it'll come down to that. But in terms of some damning evidence, right, that Skype went into beautifully in his video, again, check his video out down below, we have TGR's first tweet. You know, his sources have been telling him that they're still doing testing with Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer. But if the game's been done for X amount of years now, what are they possibly testing? Is it what this person is claiming, that they're testing out new ways to incorporate it into the new Modern Warfare? That's probably what it is. If all the maps are done, if all the weapons are done too, then what are they waiting for, right? You know, is it the 30-day exclusivity with Sony, or is it figuring out new ways to incorporate it into the new Modern Warfare? I think it really is one or the other, right? Now, I think another obvious point about this whole ordeal is that Modern Warfare 1 Remastered sat at about 40 gigabytes at release, and Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered currently sits at about 47 gigabytes, and that doesn't include multiplayer. So is it possible that multiplayer is already in the application we downloaded, but it's locked until further notice? Will it be a flip of a switch to just drop the multiplayer in the game we have downloaded now? It would require a patch, of course, but is a majority of it already in the files? Maybe it is, and I think we'll find out once the game releases on PC and data miners can go in and figure out what the deal is with that. So maybe we already downloaded it and Activision is like, we have to wait and see how we want to release the content. Will we drip feed it? Will we release a majority of it in the new Modern Warfare to boost sales, then drop it in the actual Modern Warfare 2 Remastered application? Maybe they'll play it both ways as time goes on. And then there's the whole Activision ordeal, which I won't get too much into since I know Sky and TGR have already talked plenty about this, but bottom line is, if they want to stay neutral and not confirm or deny anything, to keep the hype real and to not give away what the future holds, I'm totally down with that. But if they're gonna go and be bold and say Black Ops 4 never had a campaign, Modern Warfare's not getting a battle royale, if they're gonna be bold and say that, at least encrypt the truth from the files. Why make it so easy for data miners to go ahead and pull up information or gameplay or audio that contradicts what they just said? At least be competent enough to hide that information. And that's why when it comes to them talking about Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer and how it's not in the cards right now to bring that out separately, I don't believe it all that much. I think it's another case of when they said Modern Warfare wouldn't be getting a battle royale because they're not trying to reveal those plans right now. They aren't ready to reveal those plans yet. It might be another case of, you know, them trying to hide what's coming, but at the same time not being careful enough with the in-game files to where things leak out that contradict what they're saying. I don't even think Activision at this moment know what's going to be happening with this. I think they're still testing and figuring out a good way to bring in the multiplayer, and it's definitely happening one way or another, but they're still evaluating how they're going to do that. You know, think of Zombies Chronicles 2. Release it in Black Ops 4 or save it for COD 2020. Essentially the same boat, right? We have Nero Cinema talking about attachments being in the files of the new Modern Warfare, right? That's strange. So either they'll bring a lot of the OG weapons from Modern Warfare 2 into the new Modern Warfare, that'll be interesting, or it's going to be a case where, again, there's like a separate playlist or client of Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer that is within the current Modern Warfare game. So it's all interconnected. So I think we're at that point where the community has really made their voice heard. We want Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer faithfully remastered. There are some people that are like, well, you know, it was a bit underbalanced and wouldn't resonate well in this day and age with the current Call of Duty community, which I could agree with to some extent too. But I think Activision might play the best of both worlds here. They'll just release as much Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer as possible in the new Modern Warfare via remakes, and then, you know, they'll please those people, and then at the same time, a few months after that, they'll still release the faithful experience for everybody else out there who doesn't like the new Modern Warfare. So they'll probably play it both ways to get as many units of Modern Warfare sold as possible. I think that's the best way they can do this at this point. You know, it would have been great to see it now, but business is business, right? Activision never ceases to amaze me with how wild they can be with some of these decisions, right? And if COD 2020 gets delayed, it's even more of a reason to release Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer as a separate standalone application, and the Spec Ops as well. That would sell like hotcakes, right? I mean, when it comes to Modern Warfare 3, I'll touch on it a little bit more soon, but that game's also going to play a really interesting role in the next few months too, because Sony and Activision have that deal. It's 100% happening. It's just a matter of when. But that is about it. This has been DK Dynamite. Once again, check out Skype's video down below in the description. Definitely worth a watch in case you guys want to see more evidence and proof that Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer is in fact 100% coming. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.